This is Peter Morosky, the Nurse, and today I want to talk about on why I think Aladar from Dinosaur 2000 is a great character and why people need to stop calling Dinosaur 2000 the worst Disney movie ever made. Especially considering their reasons for it being the worst are incredibly stupid. First of all, Aladar is an incredibly sweet and caring character who treats everyone like equals, regardless of their species or age. We see this throughout the whole movie, where we see him playing with the Lima kids, helping out Zenny, and having a joke with him when he tries to rehearse pickup lines, which is pretty funny, and then also helping the male lemurs in their courtship ceremony, and when all sorry, a bit of an itchy eye there, sorry. And when the main ritual is done, when all said is done, he sees Zenny heartbroken because he didn't get a mate. He just goes to comfort him. He just goes to comfort him, and just being, well, what Zenny needs right now, a friend and a good bro to lean on. You don't see much of this in characters in modern Disney movies that much. To be honest, this is in the first 20 minutes, they establish him as a way more likable character than Woody from Toy Story, in my opinion, especially in that first Toy Story film where he's just a complete control freak about being Andy's favorite toy, right? I mean, yeah, Aladar even says that even just after this, after he says that he puts Eddie on the ground, his adopted mother comes up to him and says it's a shame he doesn't have a mate for his own as well. But even Aladar says that even though he doesn't have a mate on the Lemur Island, he's very happy with what he's got, and what more could he ask for? Come on, you can see how sincere this guy is. Even though this guy doesn't have a mate or anything, he's got a loving family, he's got a home. Like, what more could he want? What more could he want, right? And that's very nice. And also, later in the movie, he keeps encouraging the old dinosaurs to keep moving because he feels like it's wrong to leave someone behind just because they're old, not as strong as the more younger, more healthy dinosaurs, right? And you can see him making sure Ema doesn't get hurt while the herd is running like complete maniacs to get to those small bit of water that Ella discovered in the dried up lake. And you see that where Aladar's just protecting Ema, going, yeah, Shelby, that's really helpful, and he's just protecting her from getting trampled over. And this gets the attention of Nera, the sister of Crone, the leader of the herd. And she's not Nera, she's not used to this kind of kindness from an iguanodon or any other plant eating dinosaur, because if Aladar wasn't around, Ema would have been left behind. She would have died ages ago if it wasn't for Aladar being there. And Nera sees how he is kind to the kids, how he helps them get water because Crone shoves them to the side so they wouldn't get water because Crone's being a complete jerk about it. And this is a big attraction. This is quite a big attraction for him. What led to her, just starting to fall in love with him and want Aladar to be her mate, or when they get to the nesting grounds, right? And even more so, and this happens even more so when he tells her that if they stick together, they can all make it. And she goes, "Oh, you sound so sure." And Aladar just goes, "No, I'm not sure, but it's all I know." And this is like a big reassurance for Nera, because if Aladar's around, then there's a big chance they can all make. They can all make it. Oh, whew. And also later on when the and later on, even after knowing how Bruton treated the old ones and how Bruton was a bit of a prick to him early in the film, he still helps him even after they see him he's badly hurt by the Carnotaurs, and this has a huge effect on Bruton, which led to his sacrifice. Now I know people say his redemption arc was a bit rushed, but I was completely fine. I was completely fine with it. The one thing I don't get is how did Cleo think that Bruton was going to get a little plane with his big dinosaur feet, right? That always confused me, but regardless, I think it was pretty okay. It was pretty well done. It was somewhat believable. But of course, this leads to this affects Bruton to a point which led to his big sacrifice, which was a really great scene. And in that case, Aladar tried to save him, and he feels guilty after he dies because Bruton could have easily run away, but Bruton came back and helped him and held off the two Carnos while Aladar and his family, the old ones, get away. And come on, and when Aladar sees his dead body, you can see the guilt on his face, like. Ugh. I mean, this guy has a heart of gold, and so something we don't see from many characters these days. This is something we don't see in characters that much these days. A lot of characters just want to prove how good they are. Like, oh, how good they are. Like, oh, look at me. Yeah, Aladar simply is just a good guy, and he just wants to help his family and the other dinosaurs. Heck, even after Crone attacked him, in that scene where Aladar says he can lead them to the nesting grounds in a more safe way. Even after Crone attacks him for being a prick because he's trying to take authority over the herd, even though Aladar just wants to help them. Ooh, no, he goes, like I said, after that happens, as soon as Aladar sees Neri to go help Crone against the Carno, because Crone was a complete idiot who just separated from the herd and just started going his own way, which, which led to his death. But yeah, he goes to help too because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, and he doesn't want anyone to die or sad. Even though Crone dies anyway. But instead of saying Crone deserved his death, which to be honest, I would have, to be honest. But I think Aladar's much better bloke than I am. But he just comforts Neri and leads the herd to safety, and this guy's just really awesome. And I'm gonna say it right now, I love Aladar way more than a lot of Disney leads. Heck! I even love him more than Simba from The Lion King. Yeah, I said it. To me, he makes Simba look like a complete wimp. And now, yeah, and that's why Aladar right here is a really great character. Now, to get to the second half and why people call this the worst Disney movie ever is because. To be honest, like I said, the reasons for this are completely stupid. Like, there are two main reasons. Like I said, is because they say this movie has no vision and it's just a rip off of The Land Before Time. To me, these are just completely stupid opinions because this movie is absolutely gorgeous and stunning, especially with the real life backgrounds and that music, and the opening is pure cinema. I mean, look at the videotape. Look at this videotape. You can see just below there, all that right there. That's all real backgrounds, and look how beautiful it is, especially with the dinosaurs in there, right? That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and the music in the opening just gets you pumped. And that opening scene is just the dinosaurs being dinosaurs, like they're not doing this whole thing in The Lion King where they're all gathering in one place and worshipping a predator. These players just worshipping a predator, both of a new predator, right? Oh yeah, and the dinosaurs are really well done. Unlike films like and also another comparison to The Lion King. Unlike films like The Lion King where you have animals talking about things that animals wouldn't even talk about, Dinosaur does not do that. Instead, they just keep the talking bit more realistic to how these animals would talk in this situation. And like I said in the opening scene, they're just dinosaurs being dinosaurs. Like you just see Aladar's mother just freaking looking after her eggs and just going off that little Parasaurolophus. Like that's really nice. Ooh. And also, unlike films with animals like Finding Nemo or The Lion King, where you have predators and prey being friends. Which, don't get me wrong, I love Finding Nemo. Like especially Bruce the Great White Shark. But Dinosaur stays grounded and keeps them as enemies in a realistic way, not like he's an evil because he's a predator. No, it just keeps them as enemies as in the natural order, right? Like these are predators and these are prey, and the prey have to escape from the predators, right? So you got to respect that. Like I never understood about The Lion King was if you watch the movie, all the lions are friends with the plant eaters, and yet they eat the antelope, and yet the antelope still worship the one that they eat that eats them. Like that made no sense to me. This movie Dinosaur does not do that, which is what I really appreciate about this film. And you got to admit those Carnotaurs, the Carnotaurus are awesome. I know they're not realistic to the real life versions, but come on, but these guys are absolutely terrifying and awesome. And to be honest, I think these guys are way more scary than the T-Rexes in the Jurassic Park movie, especially the original movie. And this movie shows unlike the T-Rex in Jurassic Park, which is basically just goes after anything it sees. These guys are brutal. These guys are brutal and smart. Like in that opening scene when that little baby Parasaurus just runs out of the forest or jungle or whatever, and you see the Kano just bursts out of the trees going all that stuff, and he sees the baby Parasaurolophus, but he just goes nah. He basically goes nah. That's a waste of my time. That's a waste of my energy. He just goes straight for the herd with the bigger dinosaurs, which again is realistic. Like if you're a big predator like that, you're not going to eat like a little puny little thing like that. You're going to go after the next big thing, and the next big thing. And like I said, he goes straight for something a lot bigger that will fill up his stomach. Like that Pachyrhinosaurus where he goes. That poor Pachyrhinosaurus is just desperately trying to get away from him, and then the Kano just comes in and goes, whoa. And like I said, that's awesome, and that really shows that these guys aren't mindless beasts that just go after trying to waste their time with little dinosaurs instead of going after the bigger animals, like the T-Rex in the Land Before Time, right? Like I know that's a little kid thing, but that doesn't really make any sense. You got these big T-Rexes like that. I don't know what's his name, Red Claw. He keeps going after these little dinosaurs like Littlefoot. Yeah, where he could just go straight for these bigger dinosaurs that can fill his stomach, right? So you got to admit this movie does a really great job of that, establishing these guys are not just mindless beasts, but they are smart and calculated hunters. Calculated hunters, right? And let's be honest, the fight scenes in this movie are among the best dinosaur fights in movie cinema, in my opinion. Like, come on, like the fights between Bruton and the Carnotaurs in the freaking cave scene, which is freaking awesome and is awesome. And then the fight between Aladar and Crone, where they're fighting authority over the herd, is quick. That's what I love about this. The fight between Aladar and Crone is realistic. It's not like one of these long extended fights. These animals like this want to end the fight sooner rather than later. And of course, and to be honest, even though Aladar never fought another iguanodon in his life, he did hold his own against Crone pretty good until Crone, cut his chest, got the dust, and just knocked him over before Nera saved him. Like, that's awesome. That's a realistic fight. That's probably one of the most realistic dinosaur fights I've ever seen in my life. And then, of course, you have the final showdown where Crone and Nera fight the Kano to save Crone because Crone's a freaking idiot, because Crone's an idiot. Which, by the way, no one brings this up. Like, what was Crone's plan? Like, he said he was so sure that above that he could just go down to the nesting grounds over that cliff face, right? But even if he believed that, and yet he was leading the Carnotaur right to the nesting grounds. Like, we know he wasn't going to get in there because we know there's a cliff face there. But Crone was so sure that it would lead to them, yet he was going up there leading the Kano there. That was pretty stupid. But anyway, but to be honest, I actually love these fights a lot more than most of the fights we get in the Jurassic Park universe, in the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, another thing why this movie is great, another thing is this movie has got some balls that modern Disney does not have. In this movie, you get characters that die on screen, actually get eaten on screen. Like you see that in that scene where Bruton and that scout are just patrolling looking for water, and then you see the poor scout get pulled back, and you see him struggling to get away. And then when you see Bruton get attacked, if you look in the background, you see the Kano actually taking a bite out of him, and you actually see him eating a piece of the scout. It's like when I was a little kid, even now when I watch it, I'm going, whoa, damn, that's brutal. This movie's got balls, yo. This movie's got some serious balls that this modern Disney doesn't have. And unlike other modern Disney films where they have these characters magically still be alive, this movie instead in this movie they just have characters. They have characters actually die, unlike these other movies where they have characters live through things that they have no business living through. This movie has them die, like in that scene with Crone. They don't have Crone magically being alive after getting bitten by that Carnotaurus and then getting chucked right into that rock where you see his body go like that. Yeah, you're not living through that. Which is like, and I'm happy they don't have a real cheese moment where he's alive and he looks at him and he gives Aladar's blessing, whatever. I'm glad they didn't do that because that just cheapens it, and it makes the scene way more realistic because you don't always get that last blessing or whatever and having in real life, right? So you got you got to respect this. Like, this movie has the guts and balls to do things that a lot of modern Disney movies don't have. Now, people who say this is the worst, they're worst because it's just a rip off. You need to get your heads out of your asses because more than half of these guys love the classic Lion King film. I do too. Don't get me wrong, but the Lion King isn't much of an original thing either because if you do your research, then this film is basically just a rip off of Kimba the White Lion. Hey, get it? Simba, get it? And yet you people say that Dinosaur is just a rip off of The Land Before Time. Then you guys say it's the worst Disney movie ever for this reason. Yet a lot of you guys like these live action crap remakes. And just recently, people even say it's worse than that recent Abomination with Dwayne the Rock Johnson in the worst wig I've ever seen in my life. They say Dinosaur's even worse than this. Like, what? Are you kidding me right now? And so people who say Dinosaur is the worst Disney movie ever because it's not original, and their trees don't go all the way to the top. And their trees don't go all the way to the top branches, if you know what I mean. At least Dinosaur has a story with different characters instead of just taking something people love and turning it into a CGI abomination, or what that freaking idiot Snow White did, like just trashing the original film, the movie that actually made Disney. So, made Disney, right? And you got to admit, and also I don't want to forget this because, and to me this movie also has, in my opinion, the best meteorite scene I've ever seen, or meteorite. I think it's a meteorite or an asteroid. I'm not sure, but anyway, it has the best meteor / asteroid scene I've ever seen. Like, if you see that scene after the mating, it's just and the way it just comes down, the music, and then just blush, like you go, the characters going, oh, what's going on? And then bam. And everything just goes chaotic and I have to try and get away from it. I mean, look at the picture on this videotape. Like, look at that. That's beautiful right there. And you can see a couple of the shots of the dinosaurs and the herds and the shots of the lemurs too. Like, you got his adopted mother here. His adopted mother, what's her name? What's her name again? Cleo, that's it. You got Cleo there, and then you also got... Ooh, and then you got his adopted grandfather, who's hilarious in this movie, by the way. He's a really fun character. And... Yeah, and believe it or not, I still have videotapes. Like I said in my Jurassic Sam Neill video, I still have these. And this movie's even still got the freaking ticket, freaking little sticker it got when it was bought, right? So anyway, back to the point. Like, that's the best asteroid scene you've ever seen in your life. I've ever seen in movie history. And I just wanted to end it on something I just wanted to end this video with. Didn't want to forget that scene. So this is why, and to me, that is why Aladar is a freaking great character. I'm gonna say this right now. I personally think he's like he's basically the dinosaur version of Caesar from the Planet of the Apes trilogy, because these characters are really alike to their core, right? They're both good characters. They love their people. They just want to do what's best for them, and they don't look down on anyone, regardless of the species. And the other reasons why people say this movie is the worst Disney movie ever is just completely stupid. So, completely stupid. And I'm going to say it right now, this is in my top 10 favorites animated films of all time. And also, I'm going to say it right now, it's in my top 5 favorite Disney movies of all time. I'm not going to say what place it's in. I just want to let you guys know that's how much I love this film. In fact, I only watched it only less than a week ago, and I still love it. So this has been Puri Morosky, the Nurser. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you and have a great day.